Welcome back to the Tutoring Pros channel. In this video, we're going to be going over College Board's first practice SAT, section 4. If you haven't already, please make sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm so that this video gets pushed out to more people who need it. If you're new to the channel, what we do here is we help students attain better SAT, ACT scores, and better grades so that they can get into the college that they want to get into. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and with that being said, we'll get started with the video. Number 1. John runs at different speeds as part of his training program. The graph shows his target heart rate at different times during his workout. On which interval is the target heart rate strictly increasing, then strictly decreasing? For this question, we want to see where is the graph increasing. So I'm going to shade over the parts where our graph is increasing from left to right. Now we need to see in which interval is it going from strictly increasing to strictly decreasing. I've outlined where it's increasing. For this first shaded region, from 0 to 10, immediately after, the target heart rate is constant, which is not what we're looking for. We're looking for strictly increasing, then strictly decreasing. If we look at this second interval between 40 and 50, we're increasing, and then immediately after, we're decreasing. So it's going to be this middle interval from 40 to 60, or answer choice B. Just so that we can be sure of our answer, we're going to check the rest of the intervals. At this third interval, we're increasing, and then once again, we have a constant target heart rate. And then for this fourth interval, it's increasing and then has a constant target heart rate. So the answer is going to be B, between 40 and 60 minutes. Number 3, in the figure above, lines L and M are parallel, and lines S and T are parallel. If the measure of angle 1 is 35, what is the measure of angle 2? Whenever we have parallel lines, the corresponding angles of each line is going to be the same. So since T and S are parallel, and we have L cutting through both of them, where 1 is, we can also say that this part is going to have the same angle measure. And we can think about it the same way between L and M. L and M are parallel lines with S cutting through them. So 1 is also going to correspond here. These two angles are corresponding angles. So as we can see, 2 and 1 are supplementary angles. They add up to 180. So if we add up angle 1 plus angle 2, this is going to give us 180. We know angle 1 is 35, and then we can figure out what angle 2 is by solving for it. The way we get angle 2 by itself is by subtracting 35 on both sides. And we end up with angle 2 equals 145 degrees, or answer choice D. Which of the following graphs best shows a strong negative association between D and T? In this question, we need to understand what a strong negative association actually means. So in order to have a negative association, this means that from left to right, our line is going to be decreasing. So we're going to have a line with a negative slope. That's what a negative association means. For a graph like this to have a strong association, that means that the dots need to be close niched and tight together. So if we look at the answer choices, we're going to see 2 answer choices with a negative association. Answer choice A and answer choice D. Answer choice B is constant and goes up a little bit. This would have a constant or slightly positive association. And then C has a positive correlation or association between D and T. Now, the only difference between A and D is how close the points are to each other. Answer choice A is more widespread, and answer choice D is more close together. Remember, a strong association is when they're close together. So this would be answer choice D. Answer choice A, we would consider it as a weak negative association. So the answer for number 5 is going to be D. Number 6, a hospital stores one type of medicine in 2 decagram containers. Based on the information given in the box above, how many 1 milligram doses are there in 2 decagram containers? This question is basically asking us how many milligrams are in 2 decagrams. And we're going to use the table up here to help us figure that out. So we know that we're going to have 2 decagrams, and that's going to be equivalent to 20 grams. Since 1 decagram is 10 grams, 2 decagrams would be 20 grams. 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. So if instead we had 20 grams, this would be 20,000 milligrams. And there we have it. 2 decagrams is going to be equivalent to 20,000 milligrams. So this would be answer choice D. Number 7. The number of rooftops with solar panel installations in 5 cities is shown in the graph above. If the total number of installations is 27,500, what is an appropriate label for the vertical axis of the graph? If we look at the vertical axis, we'll see for city A, we're at 9. For city B, we're at 5. C, we're at 6. D, we're at 4. E, we're at 3.5. And if the total number of installations is 27,500, it would make sense if this was 9,000, 6,000, 5,000, 4,000. So the vertical axis will be the number of installations in thousands. So answer choice C. Number 8. For what value of n is the absolute value of n minus 1 plus 1 equal to 0? If we consider the absolute value, the smallest number that this can be is 0. And then we're adding 1 to this. So the smallest possible value that we can get out of this expression is 1. So there's no value of n that we can come up with in order for this expression to be equal to 0. So the answer is going to be D. Questions 9 and 10 refer to the following information. A equals 1052 plus 1.08 t. The speed of a sound wave in air depends on the air temperature. The formula above shows the relationship between A, the speed of a sound wave in feet per second, and T, the air temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Which of the following expresses the air temperature in terms of the speed of a sound wave? What we're going to do for number 9 is start off with the equation provided above, and then we're going to solve for T. We're starting off with A equals 1052 plus 1.08 t. And our goal is to get T by itself. First, we need to subtract 1052 on each side, and we're going to get A minus 1052 equals 1.08 t. And then to get T by itself, we need to divide by 1.08. And finally, we'll get that T equals A minus 1052 over 1.08. Or answer choice A. Number 10. At which of the following air temperatures will the speed of a sound wave be closest to 1,000 feet per second? We're going to use the answer from number 9, which was answer choice A. T equals A minus 1052 divided by 1.08. And then we're going to plug in 1,000 for A. So instead of A, we'll put 1,000 minus 1052 divided by 1.08. And this is going to be equal to negative 48, which is answer choice B. Number 11. Which of the following numbers is not a solution of the inequality 3x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 4x minus 3. For this question, what we have to do is get x by itself. We're going to start off by moving this 3x over by subtracting 3x on both sides. On the left side, the 3x's cancel, and we're left with negative 5 is going to be greater than or equal to x. 4x minus 3x is just x minus 3. To get x by itself, we need to move the 3 over. We do that by adding 3 on both sides. So negative 5 plus 3 is going to be negative 2 is greater than or equal to x. So we need to see which one of these is not a solution. Negative 2 is less than or equal to negative 2. Negative 3 is less than or equal to negative 2. And negative 5 is less than or equal to negative 2. The only one that does not fit this criteria would be answer choice A. Based on the histogram above, of the following, which is closest to the average number of seeds per apple? In order to find the average number of seeds per apple, we need to divide the total number of seeds by the total number of apples. We know that in total, there's 12 apples. So now we need to find how many seeds are there in total. To find out how many seeds, we need to go to each bar and multiply the number of seeds by the number of apples. So for this first bar, we're going to do 3 times 2, 3 seeds for 2 apples. That's 6 seeds in total. 5 by 4 is going to be 20 seeds. 6 by 1 is 6. 7 by 2 is 14. 9 by 3 is going to be 27. 6 plus 20 is 26. 26 plus 6 is 32. 32 plus 14 is 46. 46 plus 27 is 73. So we're going to approximate 73 over 12. This is close to 72 over 12, which is 6. So the closest to the average number of seeds per apple is going to be answer choice C, which is 6. Number 13. A group of 10th grade students responded to a survey that asked which math course they were currently enrolled in. The survey data was broken down as shown in the table above. Which of the following categories accounts for approximately 19% of all survey respondents? In order to answer this question, we need to figure out how many students is 19% of all survey respondents. So 19% as a decimal is going to be 0.19, and we're going to multiply that by the total number of respondents. So how many students took the survey? Well, there was a total of 310. So 0.19 times 310, and this is going to be 58.9, which is approximately 59 students, which if we see 59 is going to be the male geometry students, or answer choice C. Number 14. The table above lists the lengths to the nearest inch of a random sample of 21 brown bullhead fish. The outlier measurement of 24 inches is an error. Of the mean, median, and range of the values listed, which will change the most if the 24-inch measurement is removed from the data? If we look at the 3 different statistical measurements, they're giving us mean, median, and range. The mean is not going to change all that much because the 24 is not too much of an outlier, and when we remove it, there's a lot of other numbers that help make up for the 24 missing. So there will not be a big change in the mean. It's not going to be the mean. The median will also not change. Right now, since the numbers are listed in order, the middle number is going to be 12. If we remove one number, then the median will still be 12. So the median would actually have no change. The range right now is 24 minus 8, the biggest number minus the smallest number, which is 16. But if we remove 24, the biggest number is now 16. And the range would now be 16 minus 8, which would be 8. And it would go from 16 to 8, which would be reducing the range by 8. So that is going to be the biggest change if we remove 24 inches from the data set. Questions 15 and 16 refer to the following information. The graph above displays the total cost C in dollars of renting a boat for H hours. What does the C-intercept represent in the graph? So if we refer to the question, they tell us that the total cost C in dollars, so the total cost represents C. The C is this vertical axis. So where it crosses this axis is going to be at 5. This is going to be the price when we have rented the boat for 0 hours, or the initial price. So if we look at the answer choices for number 15, A is the initial cost of renting the boat. That's actually going to be the answer. But we'll look through the rest of the answer choices. B is the total number of boats rented. That's not it. The total number of hours the boat is rented. That's not it either. The increase in cost to rent the boat for each additional hour. That would not be it. So for number 15, the answer is A. 16, which of the following represents the relationship between H and C? If we see the C-intercept is 5, we know that the formula is of the form y equals mx plus b, where this intercept is going to be 5. So C equals something times H plus 5. And we need to see how much we increase for each hour. For the first hour, we're going from 5 to 8. So that's going to be an increase of 3. So therefore, our slope is going to be 3. And answer choice C is going to be the answer. Number 18. Y is less than negative x plus a, and y is greater than x plus b. In the xy plane, if 0, 0 is a solution to the system of inequalities above, which of the following relationships between a and b must be true? So what we're going to do is plug in 0, 0 for both of these equations. For the first equation, it's going to be 0 is less than a, 0 plus a, which is just a. And for the second equation, we're going to get 0 is greater than b. So a is greater than 0 and b is less than 0. So we can say a is greater than 0, which is greater than b. So a is greater than b, which is answer choice A. Number 19. A food truck sells salads for $6.50 each and drinks for $2 each. The food truck's revenue from selling a total of 209 salads and drinks in one day was $836.50. How many salads were sold that day? We can create an equation for both the revenue of the food truck and for the number of salads and drinks sold. So we know that each salad is sold for $6.50. So 6.5 times S plus each drink is sold for $2, 2 times D. And that's going to be the total revenue for that day, which is $836.50. Then we know that the total number of salads and drinks sold was 209. So S plus D will be 209. We can use elimination to cancel out D. What we need to do is multiply the bottom equation by 2. We're going to get 2S plus 2D equals 418. And this middle equation cancels out. If we subtract the bottom equation from the top, 6.5S minus 2S will be 4.5S. 2D minus 2D is going to be 0. Those cancel. And then 836.5 minus 418 is going to be 418.5. In order to get S by itself, we have to divide both sides by 4.5. And then finally, S equals 418.5 divided by 4.5 is going to be 93. Or answer choice B. Number 20. Alma bought a laptop computer at a store that gave a 20% discount off its original price. The total amount she paid to the cashier was P dollars, including a 8% sales tax on the discounted price. Which of the following represents the original price of the laptop, of the computer, in terms of P? So we know that P was the amount finally paid. If we say O is the original price, we know that a 20% discount is going to be the original price times 0.8, and then an 8% sales tax is going to be times 1.08, and this is going to end up being the amount paid. In order to get the original price by itself and to have the equation in terms of P, we can divide 0.8 and 1.08 on both sides, and we'll get the original price equals P divided by 0.8 times 1.08, or answer choice D. Number 21. The data in the table above were produced by a sleep researcher studying the number of dreams people recall when asked to record their dreams for 1 week. Group X consisted of 100 people who observed earlier bedtimes, and Group Y consisted of 100 people who observed later bedtimes. If a person is chosen at random from those who recalled at least one dream, what is the probability that the person belonged to Group Y? In order to find the answer here, we need to find the probability that the member came from Group Y. So we need to find out how many people in Group Y meet the criteria of at least one dream, recalling at least one dream, divided by the total amount of people who recalled at least one dream. So in total, if we go to the total amount of people, we're going to go to the 1 to 4 column and 5 or more column, and we need to add them. 39 plus 125 is going to be 164. And in order to find how many members of Group Y observed at least one dream, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add the 1 to 4 column and the 5 or more column. 11 plus 68 is going to be 79. And the probability will be 79 out of 164, or answer choice C. The table above lists the annual budget in thousands of dollars for each of 6 different state programs in Kansas from 2007 to 2005. Number 22. Which of the following best approximates the average rate of change in the annual budget for agriculture/natural resources in Kansas from 2008 to 2010? So if we go to the row with agriculture and natural resources, and we look at 2010 and 2008, we can see here that there is a 130,000 difference between these two numbers. And you have to remember that this is in thousands of dollars. So we have to add an extra 3 zeros after. So this would be 130 million per year, which would be answer choice D. Number 23. Of the following, which program's ratio of its 2007 budget to its 2010 budget is closest to the human resources program's ratio of its 2007 budget to its 2010 budget? So if we look at how much the agriculture and natural resources department's budget, or the human resources department budget, increases, is going from around 4 million to 6 million. That's almost a 50% increase. And if we look at which other department has almost a 50% increase, agriculture has around a 33% increase. Education has close to a 50% increase. It might be education. I'm going to put a question mark there. It's not human resources. The government from 2007 to 2010 stays the same. So it's not the government, or approximately the same. Highway and transportation, it's a minor increase around 300,000 from around 150,000. That's around 20%, not 50%. So that's not it. Human resources is the one that we're measuring against. And then public safety almost doubles. So it has to be education. Answer choice B. Number 24. Which of the following is an equation of a circle in the xy plane with center 0, 4 and a radius with endpoint 4/3, 5? So in order for the center to be 0, 4, we have to go by the formula of the equation of a circle, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. From here, we know that h comma k has to be our center, and this is going to be the 0, 4. So we're going to plug in 0 and 4, and we'll get x squared plus y minus 4 squared equals r squared. So right away we can eliminate answer choice B and answer choice A. So if we're looking at the two answer choices, answer choice A and C, we compare the right side of the equation, we need to see 5/3 and 25/9. Remember that in the equation on the right side of the equal sign, we have r squared. So you need to ask yourself which version looks like the squared form. Well, 25/9 looks like 5/3 squared. So it has to be 25/9 on the right side. So it's going to be answer choice A. Number 26. Katerina is a botanist studying the production of pears by two types of pear trees. She noticed that type A trees produce 20% more pears than type B trees did. Based on Katerina's observation, if the type A trees produce 144 pears, how many pears did the type B trees produce? So here it says that type A trees produce 20% more pears than type B trees. So we can say that type B trees times 20% more, which is 1.2, is going to equal the amount that A produces. We know that type A trees produced 144, so we can replace A with 144. And in order to get B by itself, we have to divide both sides by 1.2. Now, 144 divided by 1.2, 120, or answer choice B. Number 25. H equals negative 4.9 times t squared plus 25 times t. The equation above expresses the approximate height h in meters of a ball t seconds after it is launched vertically upwards from the ground with an initial velocity of 25 meters per second. After approximately how many seconds will the ball hit the ground? In order to find out after how many seconds the ball will hit the ground, we need to think about what height the ground is at. If we're seeing how long it takes for the ball to hit the ground, we want to see at what time t does h equal 0. So instead of h, we're going to plug in 0, and we'll have 0 equals negative 4.9 times t squared plus 25t. Both of these terms have a t in common, so we can pull out a t, and we'll have negative 4.9 t plus 25. We need to set each of these equal to 0. We get t equals 0, and we'll get negative 4.9 t plus 25 equals 0. If we subtract 25 on both sides and divide by negative 4.9, we'll get that t is approximately 5, which is answer choice D. Number 27. A square field measures 10 meters by 10 meters. 10 students each mark off a randomly selected region of the field. Each region is square and has side lengths of 1 meter, and no two regions overlap. The students count the earthworms contained in the soil to a depth of 5 centimeters beneath the ground surface in each region. The results are shown in the table below. Which of the following is a reasonable approximation to the number of earthworms to a depth of 5 centimeters beneath the ground surface in the entire field? So there's a couple of things that we need to think about here. First, we need to look at the average and approximate the average over the first 10. If we look at our answer choices, there's a common theme of 15, 15, 15, 15. So it's likely that the average here is going to be 150. These are 10 out of 100 different square plots. Remember, the whole field is 10 meters by 10 meters, and each of these has side lengths of 1 meter. So there's going to be 100 of these different regions inside of the entire field. So what we have to do is multiply 150, because that's how many each plot has on average, in terms of the amount of earthworms. And then there's 100 different plots. So 150 times 100 is going to be 15,000, or answer choice C. Number 28. If the system of inequalities y is greater than 2x plus 1 and y is greater than half x plus minus 1 is graphed in the xy plane above, which quadrant contains no solutions to the system? So first we need to do is graph each of these. So first, y is greater than or equal to 2x plus 1. First, we'll start off with the y-intercept, which is plus 1. And then there's a slope of positive 2. So from left to right, we're going to be increasing at a steady rate. And since there's a line underneath, we can include this line as a solid line. The second equation is y is greater than half x minus 1. Here we're going to start off at negative 1. And there's going to be a similar concept from left to right. We're going to be increasing. However, here the line is going to be much less steep. For the first equation, since y is greater than this line, we need to shade above. And for the second equation, since y is greater than this line, we also need to shade above. So the region here is the solution to this system of equations. And the solutions include quadrant 1, quadrant 2, and quadrant 3. The only quadrant that does not have a solution is quadrant 4. So this will be answer choice C. Number 30. Which of the following is an equivalent form of the equation of the graph shown in the xy plane above, from which the coordinates of vertex A can be identified as constants in the equation? So in order to solve this question, we need to understand which formula or what the formula is for a vertex quadratic form. And the form is going to be x minus h squared plus k, where h comma k is our vertex. And based off the answer choices, the only equation that looks similar to what I wrote here is going to be answer choice D. Number 29. For a polynomial px, the value of p3 is negative 2. Which of the following must be true about px? So if you look at the first three answer choices, you'll see that they refer to x plus or minus a number is a factor of px. The only way that this can be a factor is if the number that makes this 0, so in this case x equals 5, if we plug in 5 for x, so p of 5, this is a factor if we get 0, if p of that number equals 0. As we can see, we got p of 3 equals negative 2. Since there's no 0, p of a number equals 0, none of these are going to be true. We cannot prove that any of these are factors of our polynomial px. But what we do know is that when we plug in 3 in for x, we end up getting negative 2, and this acts as a remainder. And this will be answer choice D. Number 31. Wyatt can husk at least 12 dozen ears of corn per hour and at most 18 dozen ears of corns per hour. Based on this information, what is a possible amount of time in hours that it could take Wyatt to husk 72 dozen ears of corn? In order to solve this question, we need to divide the total number of ears of corn that Wyatt husked, which is 72, and we're going to divide that by the amount of ears of corn that he husks per hour, which it doesn't really matter what value we use as long as it's between 12 and 18. So we're going to use 12. 72 divided by 12, the total number of ears of corn divided by how many dozens of ears of corn he husks per hour. And that's going to give us 6. Number 32. The posted weight limit for a covered wooden bridge in Pennsylvania is 6,000 pounds. A delivery truck is carrying X identical boxes, each weighing 14 pounds, will pass over the bridge. If the combined weight of the empty delivery truck and its driver is 4,500 pounds, what is the maximum possible value for X that will keep the combined weight of the truck, driver, and boxes below the bridge's posted weight limit? So we know that the truck driver and the truck combined weighs 4,500 pounds. And then each box weighs 14 pounds and there's X boxes. And this needs to be less than 6,000, which is the posted weight limit. The first thing we need to do is subtract 4,500 on each side, and we'll get 14x is less than 1,500. And if we divide both sides by 14, we're going to get that x is going to be less than 1,500 over 14, or x is going to be less than 107.14. So the maximum number of packages that they can deliver is going to be 107. Since the 107, since you can't have a portion of a box, and 108 boxes, 108 boxes would be too much. So the maximum number of boxes they can bring is 107. Number 33. According to the line graph above, the number of portable media players sold in 2008 is what fraction of the number sold in 2011? So if we look at the number sold in 2008, it is 100. So it's going to be 100 divided by, since they're talking about what fraction is the 2008 number from the 2012 number. So we're going to do 2008 divided by 2012. In 2008, 100 were sold. In 2011, 160 were sold. So this is going to be 100 over 160, which simplifies to 10 over 16, which finally simplifies to 5 over 8. Number 34. A local television station sells time slots for programs in 30-minute intervals. If the station operates 24 hours per day, every day of the week, what is the total number of 30-minute time slots the station can sell for Tuesday and Wednesday? The first thing we need to do is figure out how many 30-minute time slots can they schedule per day. If there's 24 hours in a day and there's 2 30-minute intervals in every hour, all we need to do is multiply 2 by 24, and there's a total of 48 available time slots per day. Between Tuesday and Wednesday, that's 2 days. 48 times 2 is going to be 96. So between Tuesday and Wednesday, there's a total of 96 30-minute time slots. Number 35. A dairy farmer uses a storage silo that is in the shape of the right circular cylinder above. If the volume of the silo is 72 pi cubic yards, what is the diameter of the base of the cylinder in yards? So our first step is to set up the formula for volume of a cylinder. That's V equals pi r squared times h. And they're telling us that the volume is 72 pi. They want to know what the diameter of the base of the cylinder is. So in order to find that, we first need to figure out what the radius is, and then we can double that. They tell us in the question that the height of our cylinder is going to be 8. So we'll have 8 pi times r squared equals 72 pi. We can divide both sides by 8 pi. And we're going to get r squared equals 72 divided by 8 is 9. And if we take the square root of both sides, we'll get that r equals 3. The question is asking for the diameter and not the radius. So all we have to do in order to find the radius is multiply the in order to find the diameter is multiply the radius by 2. So we'll find that the diameter equals 6. Number 36. H of x equals 1 over x minus 5 squared plus 4 times x minus 5 plus 4. For what value of x is the function h above undefined? Where the function h is undefined is wherever the denominator equals 0. So we need to simplify this denominator and then set it equal to 0. The first step is going to be to FOIL this first binomial. So it's going to be x minus 5 times x minus 5 plus, we can distribute the 4 x minus 20, and then plus 4. X minus 5 times x minus 5 is going to be x squared minus 10x plus 25 plus 4x, and then negative 20 plus 4 is negative 16. We can continue to simplify. X squared, negative 10x plus 4x is negative 6x. 25 minus 16 is going to be 9. And we need to set this equal to 0. If we were to factor this out, this would become x minus 3 squared equals 0. And if we were to look for what value of x would make this equation equal to 0, it would be x equals 3. Questions 37 and 38 refer to the following information. Jessica opened a bank account that earns 2% interest compounded annually. Her initial deposit was $100, and she uses the expression 100 times x to the power of t to find the value of the account after t years. What is the value of x in the expression? So what usually goes inside of an equation like this is the rate of increase. Since her account is growing 2%, we're going to set up the equation as her principal times 1 plus the rate at which her investment or account is increasing raised to the power of t. In this case, her principal or initial amount is 100 times 1 plus 2% raised to the power of t. This is going to be 100 times 1.02 raised to the power of t. And as we can see, x equals 1.02. Jessica's friend Tyshawn made an account that earns Number 38. Jessica's friend Tyshawn found an account that earns 2.5% interest compounded annually. Tyshawn made an initial deposit of $100 into this account. At the same time, Jessica made a deposit of $100 into her account. After 10 years, how much more money will Tyshawn's account deposit have earned than Jessica's initial deposit? The way that we're going to find the answer to this question is by first using the equation that we previously found, which was 100 times 1 plus r raised to the power of t. For Jessica's account, this is going to be 100 times 1.02 raised to the power of 10. If you plug this into a calculator, you'll find that this is going to be $121.90. In order to find how much Tyshawn would have earned, instead of 2%, we need to use 2.5%. So instead of 1.02, this is going to be 1.025 raised to the power of 10. And after 10 years, this investment would be $128 and 1 cent. So the difference between these two amounts is going to be $6.11. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you haven't already, please make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want higher SAT and ACT scores. I'm trying to push out more SAT content, so let me know that you like it by commenting below, by subscribing to the channel, and by liking the video. I'll see you in the next one.